PM in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have Prime Minister brings the compassions of the government to the families affected by the fire. Accidents persist despite the presence of the pedestrian bridge. For the international scene concerning the population, the African growth boosted by young people. Welcome to our newsroom. Yesterday at around 6 p.m., the 7 Bis district of Balbala Communes was once again in the fires. More precisely, districts 16 and 17 in this popular district were severely affected by the fire. In all, around 10 boarded up buildings were ravaged by the blaze. The fire, driven by strong winds during the Khamsin period, spread very quickly, and the toll would have been even higher had the fire department not acted swiftly as soon as they were alerted. The Civil Protection Directorate quickly dispatched men and equipment to the scene to help extinguish the fire. After fierce battles against the fire department managed to contain the blazes and stopped it speedily. In addition to the civil protection forces, the national police also lent a helping hand, sending a large number of officers to the scenes to provide the necessary security cordon in the event of such an incident. The president of the Bulaas commune, Mr. Abdul Qadir Iman Aden, accompanied by his close collaborators, including Mr. Ali Addawa Muhammad, vice president, went to the neighborhood 7Bs to take a close look at the situations. As soon the firefighting operation were over, Mr. Abdul Qadir reiterated his call for vigilance against the risks of fire while promising the victims that the fire's material aid would be available within the next 24 hours. Late this morning, Prime Minister His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed visited the families who lost everything in yesterday's fires in the neighborhood 7Bs. The tragedy caused extensive material damage and endangered the lives of the inhabitants. Civil protection personnel were quickly alerted and carried out a heroic rescue operation to evacuate the residents trapped by the flames and extinguish the fire. Thanks to their rapid interventions, most of the residents were able to evacuate safely. The national police have opened an investigation to determine the causes of the fire. Assistance and support measures have also been put in place to help the families affected by this tragedy. The fire underlines the importance of the fire prevention and awareness of harm safety measures. It is essential to check electrical installations regularly and to keep an eye of any fire lit in this hot Khamsin times. The Prime Minister was accompanied on this trip by the Minister of Interior Saeed Nur Hassan, the Minister of Town Planning and Housing Samin Abdi, the Minister of Communication Radwan Abdullahi Badoun, and the Minister of Trade and Tourism Muhammad Abdullahi, and the Government Secretary General. The Minister of Interior, Saeed Nur Hassan, has indicated for his part that assistance and support measures have also been put in place to help the families affected by these tragedies. The fires underlines the importance of the fire prevention and awareness of harm safety measures. It is essential to check electrical installations regularly and to keep an eye of any fires in this hot. The ambassador and plenipotentiary of the ambassador of Djibouti and in the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and permanent representative of Djibouti to the African Union and the commissioners of the African Union, His Excellency Abdi Mahmoud Ebe, and the General Council of Djibouti in Dire Dawa, Musa Haji Jama, went this morning on Tuesday, July 11, 2023, to transmit a message of condolence, sympathy, and support from the President Ismail Omar Guelleh to the president of the Somali region, Mustafa Mohammed Umar, following the fires at the Taiwan market in the town of Jigjiga. The Republic of Djibouti would also like to express its support to the efforts of the regional and federal authorities in dealing with this tragedy. The delegation, accompanied by the mayor of the town of Jigjiga, Mr. Ziad Abdi Ahmed, and the representative of the trading community, Mr. Ahmed Wali Hassan Sharmake, visited the site to see for themselves the extent of the damages. And a statement from the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, on behalf of himself and the Djiboutian government, expressed his deep sorrow to the brotherly people and friends of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia and to the regional government of the Kilil Somali in these painful circumstances. The Prime Minister underlined the solidarity and sympathy of the Djiboutian people toward their brothers and sisters affected in Jigjiga. In this news, we will inform you about the opening of the condolence book in the memory of the late Adam Farah Samatar, the Minister of Culture, Dr. Hibo Momin Asowe, and the Minister of Labor, Omar Abdi Said, and the Minister of Communication, Radwan Abdullahi Bahdoun, today opened the guest book of condolence for the late Adam Farah Samatar, who died on Sunday. On this occasion, and in his memory for a week to bear witnesses to the places that the deceased occupied in the struggle for independence and the promotions of the Somali languages in song. The ceremony was attended by Ms. Fatuma Abdi, Director of Culture, and Mr. Mahmoud, the Deputy Director of the Agency for the Promotions of Culture. In the commune of Balbala, local residents and users of the stretch of road between Shekho Hospitals and Hayat Said Secondary School are both frustrated and frightened. This is due to the frequent accidents on this part of the National Road 1. One wonders how many more accidents it will take before pedestrians realize the usefulness of the footbridge erected for their safety. But even though the very essence of the bridge's construction project was to avoid accidents and enable pedestrians to cross the road in complete safety, accidents keep occurring, making this stretch of road a deadly black spot, as confirmed by the accident that took place yesterday Monday at around 2 a.m. According to the local shopkeepers and eyewitnesses, the speeding driver ran off the road, hitting two boulders. It is also reported that the drivers went to the road, avoiding knocking down persons crossing the road. This is the latest in a series of serious accidents, some of which have claimed the lives of many people. This stretch between Shekho Hospital and Hayat Said College, of course, to ensure compliance with the highway code, the National Police Forces has permanently deployed officers to carry out road checks, a control welcomed by local residents. The pedestrian footbridge, meanwhile, and only a few consciousness in a complete peace of mind. In an outstanding performance, Djibouti's athletes once again shown at the international athletics competitions in Lyon. Momingele won gold medals in the men's 5,000 meter, while Yanga Samia took bronze in the women's event. This victory confirms Djibouti's place on the international athletics scene. Djibouti's athletes have once again demonstrated their talents and determination, doing their countries proud. The Secretary of State for Sports congratulated the athletes on their achievement. He underlined the commitment and hard work that had gone into achieving this remarkable result. The minister also expressed his pride in these athletes who represent Djibouti with dignity abroad. That the government support is crucial to the development of the sport in the countries, notably through the EOJ Scholarship Fund, which is one of the key elements that have led to the success of our athletes on the international stages. On Sunday, July 9th, 2023, the premises of the CNSS of the Ali Sabih branches for hosted the payment of retirement pensions for the third quarters of the current years, first in the history of the districts, but also and more particularly for this institution. With this in mind, measures such as the extensions of the premises and the installations of the refreshment facilities were carried out beforehand to welcome pensioners in a pleasant and suitable setting. The pensioners we met during the day told us they were completely satisfied. This unprecedented initiative is the work of the National Security Social Security Fund General Manager Ms. Deka, who has succeeded in bringing to Freetown a priority project that was one of the major concern of the enlightened policy of the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. The fight against job insecurity and unemployment is not just a matter for the government. The ASAJOG understood this is a long time ago taking initiatives to get out of inactivities and create a sources of income has become the hobby horse of the many young people. Listen to this report.
The fight against precariousness unemployment is not only a matter for government. The SAGO have already understood this for a while. Take initiative to get out of initiative and create a source of income have become the hobby horse of many young people. Like all capitals, the city of El Sabi is growing and it has become essential to facilitate the movement of people within the city and in the surrounding area. Like all capitals, the city of Ali Sabi is growing and it has become essential to facilitate the movement of people within the city and in neighboring community. Seizing this opportunity, young Sujo people quickly start using tuk-tuks to meet this growing need. With the help of state, financial institution, family, or their own fund money bought this tuk-tuk. Today, more than 200 young people make a living from this activity. In Al Sabi, it is impossible not to come across this means of transport on the main roads as well as in the small street. They even go as far as Samoa not only to transport passengers but also to transport fruit and vegetables. A journey made easier by the construction of the road linking Samoa to the main town. The use of tuk-tuk has thus largely contributed to the facilitation of all tribes as users explained to us. The city has really grown up. If you need to get to school, the hospital, or work or whatever, you use a tuk-tuk. We thank them for that. We used to walk for a long time to get somewhere, but now we have the package. It is a thanks to this means that we go to four corners of the city. A school, hospital, and market are really satisfying. In Al Sawi, we have four colleges, the high school and the lake, and we only go there by tuk-tuk. There is never any lake in this area. Bajaj is available in front of our houses and we can go wherever we want easily. Al Sabi is no longer like it used to be. Everything is going for the better. Today, the tuk-tuk has become an usual tuk. It is the heart of the city. The local authority encouraged these young people who work in this sector while regularly reminding them of the importance of respecting safety rules. In the last 3 years, the number have increased significantly. And for good reason. Even if the work remain difficult, the tuk-tuk are making money according to the owners. Iftin Hodge is one of the young people who got out of unemployment, and thanks to this work for years, was employed. Married and father of 6 children, his situation has improved thanks to the income generated by this tuk-tuk that he acquired in 2019. For the past 5 years, he has been driving this vehicle from morning to night. Iftin Hodge has three types of customers: those who pay him per month for the two shuttle per day, ordinary customers, and finally by phone call. It is with a tuk-tuk that you see that I support my family, my six children and their mother. If you have the will to get by, you always find work and escape from your work. I start working around 5 and 10 a.m. in the morning after the dawn prayer and finish at dusk. I pray in the mosque not far from my house and then go back home. We thank the Lord for all this blessing. As for Iftin Hoche, there are more than 200 of them who practice this profession. Some and others come from neighboring towns with a dream of getting out of poverty. Effort that give result because money move away a little more each of poverty.
In Tajara on the evening of Monday, July 11, 2023 at 6 p.m. at the Hotel Resort Gadile, the regional subdirectorate of the State Secretariat in charge of sports organized a film screening in the cinema's large auditorium. This film session was organized in favor of the young girls and boys handball clubs after closing the Djibouti Cup seasons in which they were favorites. As we all know, cinema educates, makes us think, helps us to understand the world and to live with others. This most popular of arts, adulated by young people, this is one of the simplest and most effective means of cultivating young people. The young handball clubs would like to thank the regional subdirectorate for these commendable initiatives, which went off very well with a good atmosphere. The Tajara region is brimming with natural treasures, with its completely exotic tourist composites, diverse flora and fauna, into the ecotourism enthusiasts, magnificent beaches. Listen for more details.
Has been one of the sector most severely affected by the pandemic of COVID-19, and today these effects are revealed. Seeing the importance of this sector, the government through its ministry will put in place its strategic demand that will install a new approach that of sustainable recovery, tourism to support the population and the sense create jobs, promote culture and protect the heritage, but also a tourism issue for future generation. It will be an exclusive tourism, a tourism that includes no one of tourism that protect and not destroy it. It will be a question of the rethinking the future of the tourism sector and the way it will contribute to the development of the Egyptian population. In other words, they put in place a value chain to absorb youth implement. It is the reduced poverty by integrating young people in the value chain that is tourism. For that, it will be a question of relying on the terminal capital that exists. Indeed, it is a question of putting in place a policy that favors environment conducts to entrepreneurship and sustainable small and medium-sized tourism enterprise, which invested in development of qualified tourism workforce and facilitated the transition from the informal to formal economic. Initial access concentrated on people on inclusive, sustainable, resilient innovation. A tourism that will be enjoyed in the long term for future generation. It is in the case that Minister of Trade and Tourism launched in the morning of Tuesday, February 16, 2023, at the People Place, a conference on entrepreneurship and tourism job. It is a conference placed under high patronage of the Minister of Trade and Tourism, Mohamed Oussama Douria, also the participation of more than 115 young Egyptians. The objective of this conference is to encourage young people to discover and seize job opportunities, including entrepreneurship, existing in the strategic sector for the economic development of our country. Several priority investment projects, some of which have started with the mobilization of the private sector, port of interception infrastructure and intellectual structure. This identified infrastructure will allow the creation of more than 2,000 jobs in the short term, including new jobs in the sector. This new invitation that the government of His Excellency Muhammad Ghali, which is set to carry for the generation of today and tomorrow, a tourism of meaning and value. Tourism is strong of its heritage, it is territorial, and it's a art of living.
For the international scene, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan gives green light to Sweden's NATO membership. Turkey gave to go ahead on Mondays for Sweden to join NATO, a historic day that allowed the allies to underline their unity during a summit focused on support for Ukraine almost 18 months after the start of the Russian offensive. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, re-elected at the end of May for a 5-year term, has agreed to forward Sweden's accession protocol to the Turkish parliament as soon as possible. Welcomed NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg from Vilnius, Lithuania. Finalizing Sweden's accession to NATO is a historic step that benefits the security of all NATO allies at this critical time. The population, the African growth boosted by young people as the United Nations prepares to celebrate World Population Day on July 11. Some regions of the world are still experiencing a strong demographic growth, particularly in the sub-Saharan Africa, with the example of Nigeria, a veritable demographic time bomb. And Ethiopia, a global exception as Africa, is a very young continent, according to the United Nations figures. Tigist Amare, Deputy Director of Chatham House's Africa programs, explains 70% of Africans are under 30 years, and this is at times when many developed nations are experiencing rapid population again. The demographic figures are scattering from 800 million people in 2000. The number of Africans is set to rise to 4.5 billion by 2010. 2100, according to the United Nations projections. But for Tigist Amare, certain factors could work in the continent's favor. Demographic growth is of course partly explained by improvement in the level of and access to public health. This has led to a drop in infant mortality. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.